Welcome back to the Road to a Million podcast. Today I'm with David Santos, owner of Southside Detail out of Plainfield, Illinois. When I reached out to David, I actually thought that he was running a, well over six-figure shop. And he was very transparent with me that his business brought in about $40,000 last year. But I wanted to go ahead and do the podcast anyway, because this isn't just about interviewing people that are doing over $1 million or multiple six figures a year, because I believe there's a lot to be learned even from guys like David. And I know that there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are just getting started. And I think that whenever we have conversations with people like David who are around his level in his business, I think that it helps people like that a little bit more too. So I want to talk to people at all points of their detailing business. And I think that there's something to be gained even from people that are just getting started. So a huge thanks to David for coming on the podcast and sharing part of his journey, and just being transparent about some of the struggles that he's going through. I know that we kind of talk about a lot of different things and hop around quite a bit in this episode, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys can find some kind of value in it. Don't forget, you can use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead. And without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, today I'm with David, owner of Southside Detail in Plainfield, Illinois. David, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Thank you. It's an honor to be on here. So when you reached out, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I was in the middle of a mobile detail. I'm like, no way. This is pretty cool. So yeah, let's do this, man. I'm excited.
You know, I have a virtual assistant that helps me with finding guests, and Lorraine, and we have a system and a process for finding like for what we kind of look for. And she's not a detailer, so she which I think actually makes her really qualified for just seeing things from a different perspective. But when she added you to our list of potential guests, and I was doing some research on you, I can tell that you're very transparent and you're very comfortable on camera. And I mean, you're running your online scene, your social media, and your website. You're running it like a six-figure business, man. So props on that.
Thank you.
Because it all looks really professional, and I think that there's a lot of businesses that a lot of business owners that aren't comfortable with getting on camera, and I think that goes a long way. Do you feel like that has, without getting too much into it, do you feel like that has helped? Do you feel like you have seen customers that have noticed that, whether it's through your website or social media?
Oh, definitely. It's motivation and fuel to keep me going with that. It started. I mean, I didn't start that way right away, but I knew I wanted to make it a brand right away. And Southside Detail, you know, if you're familiar with the Chicago area, I'm in Plainfield, but I started in Orland Park, Illinois, where I grew up with my parents. I was 29 at the time. But without getting too off into that topic, you could blame me being too big of a White Sox fan while I started that name, but it's still Southside if you want to compare it, or compared to where it is in vicinity of the rest of the city, the Chicago metro area. But back on topic, yeah, with the being professional, definitely. My clients always say, and it's crazy to me. It seems like the basics. It's like I was always a big car guy. When I was 17, my dad bought me an Audi A4, a 98, if you're familiar with the B5 chassis. I loved it. It was great, but man, that thing was always at the mechanic shop. What I'm getting at is they did great work, but I just felt like it was just like I never knew what was going on when I was there, and I just felt like wherever I was at in the car industry, I feel like there was a gap. Like, I just wanted to know, how's my car doing, or they left oil over the engines. Like, come on. So I tried to just start with the communication process, the basics. So whether it be follow-up text, the way my website looks, the social media, where I'm going with that is just my customers always said that even if you read some of my Google reviews, they said communication, being on time. And to me, again, it seems like the basics, like for business or how you just want to treat yourself, or how you would want to be treated if someone else was treating you, right? It's like the most basic fundamentals. Treat someone the way you want to be treated. What we learned from when we're kids.
Yeah.
Especially, it's just, I know my prices aren't the cheapest. I'm probably one of the more expensive guys in the area, especially just being myself. And sometimes I bring myself down and thinking like, oh man, I'm just like mobile guy. I just work from home. It's not that professional looking, right? That's just me trying to be a perfectionist too much, right? But I try to just always keep that presentation going of being professional, kind of almost not if it is or not, fake it till you make it, right? We're talking 6 figures, 7 figures. I'm not there, we'll get into revenue. I feel like I'm just on my way. I'm just growing, and I still got a ways to go. But yeah, and just recently, was it Tuesday? My client told me, he's like, "Man, I really, really liked your entrepreneurial spirit." He's like, "I wish I would have started this." And again, he emphasized the communication, like, and it's just I use Square Appointments now. Square Appointments Plus. I just started paying for it. It's about $30 a month. Because I was doing follow-up texts with my clients because I would get a lot of no-call, no-shows, or just they would ghost me. I would book them and take their word for it, and that would mess up my calendar because a day or two came up before the appointment and I'm not getting responses. It's like, okay, great. Of course, that could have been for another client, right? So I started using what my dentist would do would be, "Hi, David, your appointment's coming up like 3 or 4 days before my appointment," and say, "Reply C to confirm or to reschedule." And that worked. I'm like, cool. So that's one thing, get the gist of this is, well, if you want to call it copying or not, I've looked at all their businesses across all industries and see what they're doing right and how I can implement that into my business, right? So that worked a little bit, but so of course people are busy. I get it, whether they're ignoring me or not. Always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. People are busy, and a lot of my clients they got families, they got kids, and having a 2-year-old now, I'm 33. I get it. Obviously I got ways to go as far as I want to accomplish, but we're all busy, and maybe they just didn't see the text. So the appointment confirmations have helped, and just, again, I know I'm going off here, but it's just, we can get more into that, but it's just, right, looking professional. I got, my work shirt on, my hat. That's one thing I wanted right away was a uniform. Josh, if you want to stop me there, I can keep going, but there's a lot of different things you can say, but I just redid my website too, to try to really target SEO. And since the beginning was always try to get reviews, but it wasn't perfect in the beginning, and it isn't now, but we can get into that too.
Well, your website looks good, man. Are you noticing a lot of your customers are coming from your social media, or are they checking out your social media? Do you hear people tell you your social media looks really good, or I saw your video on Instagram, or I see you have quite a few on YouTube?
Thank you, man. I appreciate the compliment, and your website looks awesome too. And we'll get into it. I saw you had Chris Di Giovanni from D12 Romat on, and man, he's got some great tips. But SEO wise, I feel like that's helped. But I'm sorry, the question again was, do you feel like the reviews or
social media? Do you feel like the social
right.
media has that helped significantly with business? Do you feel like customers are noticing that?
Yeah. So and just recently, so I changed on my form submissions for my website where they can request a quote. I asked, how did you find me? And one of them is all the social medias I'm on. So TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So now I just don't get form submissions. I want to know, where's this coming from so I can, spend my time. Where's my ROI coming from? Right. So because these videos can take multiple hours to make, but yes, big time.
We know. Yeah.
I have fun with it. Again, man, if you notice how I am, I can get into detail and get off into that topic. So I have fun with it. But yeah, social media, big time. From the beginning, and actually we can go back to how it started was I took a training with the Chicago Auto Pros back in September 2021, the business training, a 1-day training. It was about $600, and it was definitely money well spent. So that was about only 3 months into when I started my business, because I started in June of 2021. And Jason Otterness, I remember him saying, if you're probably familiar with him, right? He's a big name in the industry. He said something along the lines of, if you're not doing social media, someone else is right now, in your backyard, or some kid's going to be doing it, and he's going to be doing it right away. And that's the theme I've heard from just guys in the industry that have done it and made it, to the top is, who's that guy from New Zealand on YouTube, Aaron with Auto Clean, I believe. He's got some great tips I've been listening to. He just emphasizes, same thing, social media, and how there could be guys in business that have been in business for decades, you could say, but if you're not doing social media, guess what? That young kid is starting off 19, 20, and if he figures out social media, he can skyrocket and pass you up before you know it. And Jason kind of said that, is going back to Jason, what he was saying in his training, that, there's a lot of bitter older owners that he's noticed that they're wondering why, what happened to my business. And it's just because these are some of the things you got to be doing in your business. You can't just stay stagnant and expect, just being complacent, it's going to grow by itself. So I try to get it from every angle, and then listen to your podcast with, again, Chris Giovanni from Details Roadmap was talking about those cups, right? To get clients. So that's just one cup I can use, right? He was using, I believe, the analogy with rainwater to collect customers in that bucket. And it's not just so much to get those leads, it's just to show my work and who I am. That's, again, we're talking about social media and website. I redid my website to show me, and it makes sense. Again, he was talking about that. I didn't think of this myself. He has reiterated that on multiple podcasts. You got to show yourself. And it wasn't just that. I noticed myself too. It's like, of course we can just have a bunch of cool cars. And to me, it's kind of boring. It's nice to have cars, but I've seen a lot of local guys around me. Again, I wish them the best of luck. There's enough cars for all of us. No pet feelings, but some of them around me, they just post the same angle of all the cars. That looks cool, I guess, on the page, but it doesn't tell the story of, if I was a client and I wasn't that big of an enthusiast, I just want my car clean. Again, I target the enthusiasts as well, but even then, I feel like, who am I going to trust myself with my car, especially being a car guy? I have a 2-year-old. I had to sell my Ford Mustang. At a beautiful 2016 Ford Mustang. It was bagged, exhaust, everything. And that was my baby before I met my girlfriend and had my baby. Point is, I get it. When you love your car, even if you're not an enthusiast, these cars are expensive nowadays. So a minivan, can cost 40, 60 grand. And if you're, whatever the case may be, I've worked on, a Lamborghini Urus. I get it. That's a cost of more than a house, right? So the point is, I want to show myself in a most professional sense, and just get my voice out there and show how passionate I am about detailing, and just build a trust. I've come from a sales background. I know we talked about, again, I don't want to get too off topic, Josh, here, but I came from sales, and I just know that you got to be professional, and the art of the demo is huge. So that's why some of my videos, when I started, I was just showing, this is how you do this, or, clean windows or whatever, or I was applying G-Technic glass coating and then showing the water repellency right after. Because I want to show the customers, especially with coatings, it could be snake oil, right? It's like you put on the car, and does the customer really know after? Did you even install it? So I try to show what it is, and a lot of YouTube content. Say if a client's interested in ceramic coatings specifically, I put a link on there. One of my best clients, he's got a bunch of beautiful cars. He's got a Hellcat Red Eye. And then recently, last summer, he had me do a Shelby GT500. Gorgeous car. And I use that a lot to show, like, here, I did a full ceramic coating, interior and exterior, and check out my work. It's just to build a credibility. I know it's a long-winded answer, but yeah, social media big time has helped. Clients have told me, I've seen you. Even just the parents, like the moms and dads, who say, yeah, I saw your video. That one car was so dirty and this and that. And it's like, is mine going to be on there? And they get excited. Even if their car is really dirty, they get excited about that. And recently, I've heard from other details that have made it work. I'm trying to get their Instagrams and tag them on the videos, and they like that. Especially, I just had a client last March. He did his girlfriend's Mazda 3, paint corrected, and tagged him on it, and he loved it. He's always voting on my Instagram, and I feel like you build fans that way. It's just
Fans
to show.
are a good way to describe it. There's a lot to be said about, even if it's not always going to be making a sale when you're posting a video or making a post on Facebook or Instagram, that there's a lot to be said about just keeping in the customer's mind, staying top of mind. And I think that we've been really surprised by how many of our customers, when you go and look at your followers, how many of our customers follow us that never like our post, and that we didn't even know were on social media. And, maybe they didn't find us that way. Maybe it was a referral, or maybe it was from SEO, but they're on our social media too. And it just is another way to stay top of mind.
Definitely.
We do funny videos too. We've been doing a lot of skits lately, and I cannot tell you how many people that I see out that say, hey, I saw your skit, and all local people. And did that video really sell anything? No, but for one, it keeps our team, it helps our team to stay loose, and it's a good way to kind of bond with our team, which I really enjoy making those skits. And it also, I think, is another way just to stay top of mind. And I think it's working because we have so many people that notice it. But whenever, so you said you installed that thing on your website to ask if they found you from social media or wherever. So out of 10 people that fill out a form on your website, how many of them are coming from your social media?
Right. So I got some things printed out here. Let me grab that. It's down here. So yeah, and please forgive me. I know you guys are on top of your numbers. So I just started tracking this back last month, March, and social media. So about 16% was from Instagram, and that was just in March. So the rest was from calls and emails as far as leads I'm getting. And then for this last month, April, 5% from Instagram, 2%, 2.5 came from Facebook, and that's it. So some have come from YouTube. So, well, if it's a small percent, it sounds like I still don't know their journey as far as how they got to the point to my website, but they're starting to fill that out through my form submission. That okay, they found me through those socials. Still,
Yeah.
majority are Google, and that's I've tried to emphasize big time on the SEO, but.
Dude, 10% or 12%, even
Yep.
5%. I mean, that's awesome. That's nothing to write off. And you don't know how many people that are clicking Google but went to your social media, and then the reason that they picked you is because they felt comfortable. So I
Right.
noticed too on your website that you have a lot of photos of yourself, which I'm a big proponent of putting people in photos because someone's going to be showing up at your house to clean the car. And if you're a customer that has a nice car and you live in an expensive neighborhood, you want to know that whoever's coming out to your house, you can trust. So I really like that you've got videos and pictures on your website. So good job
Definitely.
on
Yeah.
all that. Now, so you started in June of 2021 and you went to that training from Car Supplies Warehouse and paid $600 for that training. I'm curious, what did that training help you with? And would you do it again?
Yes, they got that 2-day training, with big names like Grant Menard and Chris Giovanni. But yes, I would do it again, just a refresher because there's more. I feel like experience now. I can come in with more numbers, and I know again I'm not perfect. I have a lot to know. And they probably grill me as far as there's more numbers you got to know, man. And I get it. There's so much you can get into as far as analytics, but um, yes, the big thing what I took away from that first training was don't just be so much of a enthusiast or a technician. I just started reading, what is it, the E-Myth Revisited, right? So it's about there's a technician side of business, there's a manager, and an entrepreneur. And a lot of times, and this was me, I went into it. I came from Xfinity sales. If you've seen Xfinity stores, I was doing sales there, and I was just all about, I love cars. I can make money selling cars. If have you seen Ray as the entrepreneur? He's on YouTube.
Yeah.
He did Hunter's mobile detailing, and Hunter was a big, you could say, kind of motivation or it's just inspiration. Like, man, I can do this. But yeah, so basically, walking off topic here is, yes, I took away from that as far as business first. Know your numbers, and yes, you can be, all about, being a technician and loving what you do, but that's only going to take you so far. You got to really promote. This is a business. If you're serious about it, promote it as such, as a legit business. So that's getting business insurance, your LLC. I had done that already because they had posted on there because back in June 2021, that's when I went on LegalZoom and became an LLC. Chicago Auto Pros had posted on there like the steps to making your business and starting. And now that you got to pay for that, I know Jason, of course, left the Car Supplies Warehouse, but that was when he was with Chicago Auto Pros. So that was like a blueprint of like how to build your business, and I followed that to basically a T. But I still had a lot of things to go because right off the bat, I started buying all these tools and things I think I needed and spent thousands. And I remember my mom saying like, "Okay, how are you gonna get customers now?" And I kind of just like, she's in back of my mind, like, yeah, she's right. But I'm like, oh, I got this. It's going to be okay. And the first call, I won't forget, man, I was so nervous. I feel like it was it was like a mom. She said she had, like a minivan she wanted clean, and I just stuttered and mumbled on my words. And, right now you can probably tell I can be a real excited person, real passionate about it, but I was so like nervous, and I feel like that just killed the sale. But I mean, you got to learn the hard way. But moral of the story is you got to take it from a business side approach first. If I can go back and then grow from there. Of course, you should be passionate about what you do, but the business side of things is most important.
Do you think looking back, you should have taken some of that money you spent on equipment and tools and products and maybe saved it or spent it on other things?
Oh, without a doubt, definitely. I mean, in the cabinet right next to me, probably still have some chemicals from back in 2021 that I'm not using, because I figured out if I want to save time and be efficient with my money, especially mobile, just a client's sake, I don't want to be on their driveway all day, and I'm pretty sure they don't want me to be too. They want their car back, but still to deliver results. I've tried to narrow it down and be efficient with just a few products. Like, get products that can do more than one thing, right? But yeah, I mean, I feel like we all do that, and it's cool to test out products. But yeah, I just kind of went gung ho and bought more things than I thought I needed.
Yeah. One of my employees, I think he got into detailing in large part because of the products, and they can be fun, but that's not what's going to get you customers.
No.
Showing off that you've got, this product and that product. It's like the customers really don't care.
No, not at all. Yeah.
They're looking for someone that can be on time, that has good customer service, good reviews, maybe that their friend or family member referred them.
Exactly. Definitely.
So, yeah. Hey, I want to know, how was, so you did around $40,000 last year, you told me in your email.
Yeah.
40,900
something to be exact, right around 41K. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you doing this full time now?
I am. So last year was my first full-time year. When I started 2021, believe it or not, when I did that legal Zoom submission, I was on the clock, man, at Xfinity. Well, if that sounds good or not, I was ready to move on. Comcast is a good company to work for, but we can get into like where I started as far as college and all that. I thought I wanted to be a police officer, and I had an interview with the DEA. I probably watched too many Narcos series with Netflix, but for 2021, I was part-time. 2022, part-time business. I was full-time with Xfinity. And then when I had my off days, I would do details, and so until 2023 came around, I put in my 2 weeks notice and let them know, this is what I'm doing. So it's like around April, May. And then I moved on to full-time to my business. So it's about a half year in 2023. And then last year, 2024 was my full-time year. And man, there was a lot of times, a lot of ups and downs. There's no doubt, running your own business, it's going to challenge you. There's days where I thought, man, why am I doing this? Especially, you see the numbers, 41K. It's like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm not, after all the expenses, I'm not really making much, but it's just long term. I can see where this can go, and I have the support of my girlfriend that she's just keep going, and she sees a vision with it. And I got a 2-year-old, like I said, and I got to make this work, man. I'm 33, and I can't keep bouncing around, especially I'm so far into this, and this is what I like doing. This is me. So it's making it work, and that's the only answer.
In my life group that I'm a part of, we met on Wednesday, and we were talking about marriages, and we were talking about the importance of having your spouse's approval with things, like how important it is to have, if you're married or if you have a girlfriend, for them just to tell you, that they're on board with this vision that you're laying out, that is worth a lot. And from several of the guys that I've had on the podcast, I can tell that a big part of their success has been their significant other is okay with it, of the journey, and they see the vision, and they're willing to be a part of that.
Without a doubt, especially me. I can be a real obsessive person. When I get zoned in on something, it's like, man, I want to be the best at it, and I'm going to keep going. Like, before I met my son, I was at the gym sometimes twice a day, man. Since I was 17, I was a really skinny kid. we can get into all that, but basically I hated the way I looked and I wanted to change it. Got tired of being picked on, and passed up, blah, 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 right? Whatever. No one wants to hear that story, but basically I took it upon myself to get into a better shape. Of course, when you become a dad, things change time-wise, but basically my point is I can be real obsessive, and even my girlfriend has told me just recently, it's like, man, you're always talking about it. So it's good. You got to have the support, but I feel like, with me, it's like, I got to know when to tone it down because that work-life balance is important, but without the support, I don't know where I'd be, and life would be a lot harder. I probably couldn't do this full time. I'd probably be working 2 jobs then or more. And then, that could stunt the growth of this business. So definitely your significant other or your family, friends, you got to have the support and the right people guiding you along. And you got to be honest too with you, I feel like, because some things I know, I look back at my social media posts and man, it's kind of cringe. I'll
That's
probably
part of
say that.
starting. That's part of starting, though. I mean, you're going to make there's going to be videos that, because I think that we can get in our head whenever we're starting anything new that it's got to be perfect before we start, which is not, it's not true, and like you just got to start posting, and yeah, it's going to be a little cringy when you look back at it, but so what, man? Like everyone else that isn't starting, it's like they're the real losers in my mind because they haven't started,
Right. And I've been down that line, or I've been in that position with certain things, and kind of talked about this before. It's just I can be too much of a perfectionist, and I feel like that's made me take too long on cars too. Is being a perfectionist, like trying to get that little extra 2% out of things that clients probably not gonna even that they notice or care about. Not that you're trying to hide things, cut corners for whatever. But I feel like that's just all things in life. I feel like that trying to be too much of a perfectionist can be bad, and that's me. There's no doubt, and I still struggle with that. But I just try to know what matters and be efficient with your time.
Yeah, I always tell
Yeah,
customers, I'm like, I could spend all day detailing your car, but you reach a point of diminishing returns, right?
without a doubt.
With whatever it is, whether it's a paint correction or whether it's an interior detail. So at some point, we have to know when to throw in the towel as detailers and know that
Yeah.
this is good enough.
I still probably deal with that now to this day. I mean, if you saw my last video on it, or it was Instagram, someone posted like 9 hours. Why did it take 9 hours? I know there's gonna be a lot of naysayers, but that's fine. It helps with engagement. Negative or positive comments, I've found out that it actually the algorithm, whatever platform you're on, it likes comments. So
Yeah.
then if you could pull something controversial, that might help your case. But and I think yeah, 9 hours. I think back like why, but I've done a lot of things to try to be more efficient. But I feel like I'm vacuuming. I could be crazy still, man. To this day, right now, I can be crazy vacuuming and spend 3-4 hours trying to get every little speck of dust. And the other day, I took a step back and like, okay, this looks a lot better than when I just started. Yeah, is like you said, a point of diminishing returns is the client even going to notice, and then on top of that, you're putting the floor mats back on it, whether it be those fabric ones or WeatherTechs. It's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was winter of 2024, 2025?
Oh yeah. So you're talking about this past winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because you're mobile. You're all mobile, right?
yeah. So it was not good, man. I mean, I could pull up my revenue here, but basically January, I had bookings or appointments deposits. I take appointment deposits for February, but I was only making like maybe $1,000, $1,200 at most between both months. So I mean, each month. So good thing I had money saved, but that's partly on me. One thing I've now this focus of a goal going to 2025. We're already into May, is getting back to clients. I've sent out email marketing through Square to remind them, hey, I haven't seen your car in a while. I post a picture of myself, add a coupon on there. It's give your car a spring refresh. So I've tried to implement that, but now I'm going to try cold calling next. It's just you got to put yourself out there. But yeah, I mean, if you want to see like numbers wise, I could pull it up here.
When you say that cold calling, are you talking about, what do you mean cold calling?
Yeah. So I mean, like, just going from like Xfinity, right? Sorry, the terms in my head from past jobs, but just calling clients I haven't heard from a while. Not just emails, but just calling. So say if it's someone I haven't served in a year or longer, calling, hey, this is David from Southside Detail. Just not trying to make it too salesy. Just hey, it's been this long since we detailed your cars. Want to know if you're looking to have your car detailed soon. And just ask how they're doing. Just follow up to remind them of who you are. And then I did detail your car back then, and maybe just keep them top of mind, kind of how like we brought up earlier. So
Yeah.
just calling people from your contact list,
I
not
wouldn't say
just
that's so much of like a cold call, right? It's a little bit warmer because they know you, they've done business
true.
with you. But
Right.
how you approach that call is really important, right? Like if you have, like I think Grant was talking about on the podcast that he tries to talk to every one of his customers once a month, and I'm like, whoa, like that's a
Yeah.
full time job right there, especially whenever you have thousands of customers. But it's like, okay, so what do you say? Because that's people can tell when you're calling them if you're trying to sell them something or if you're genuinely checking in or like letting them know about something, right? So I think that is really important. It's like, what am I going to say here? It's like, okay, well, maybe I've got some kind of new service that I'm offering. It's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that we just started offering this. You may not be interested right now, but when you are, um, just know that this is something that we're doing now. Like, I think that that's a really good thing that you can kind of check in with customers on that seems like low pressured, but you're still making that personal touch and staying top of mind.
Oh, I definitely agree. And that kind of goes along the line of the next month I got to make an email. The plan is to make an email, and it's, again, I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's been done. It's just emails of like, this is how you clean your wheels or windows, and just a video of me, just keeping them top of mind. And this is me. And it's not so much sales. It's just showing me again, hear my voice. And this is how you do it.
Yeah. Or like best waxes. Like, man, we sent out an email and I was like, I don't think this email is going to do very well. And it was like our top three favorite wax products. And we had several people that ended up booking a detail from that. And so I'm surprised. I've never once sent out an email and not gotten business back. And so I'm super surprised at like some of the things that we write emails for or even make posts of that end up generating sales. So, I mean, how many times like are you thinking about having a service done and you're just like not quite ready to pull the trigger, and then you see something that like it's like, okay, this is my cue, And so I'm always thinking about that from a customer's perspective. I had a customer that just booked a $700 window tint job, and
Nice.
and she had this car for probably 6 months, and so what took her 6 months to be able to book that job, and she had reached out before,
Hmm.
but she's always seeing our social media post. And there was one video we made um, about a window tinting, and it was me teaching the new guy how we do window tinting. And
Nice.
after that post, she booked, she
Wow.
reached out. And so it's like, what was it about that post? And if I hadn't have made that post, would she have reached out then or ever? So again, it just goes back to like staying top of mind, but not seeming too pressured, because people don't want to feel like they're being sold anything.
Not at all. And I don't want to either. No, so I totally get that. Yeah. And it's funny you say window tint. I took a training with Car Supplies Warehouse back in January this year. Practicing. It's definitely not an easy skill to learn, but I need to implement that. And we can get
Have you
into
been
like,
staying pretty sharp with practicing? Are you still
oh man,
getting reps in?
I'll be honest. It's just with the website, just finishing up, finally redoing my website, and now getting calls and trying to implement things like the email. Like I focusing business stuff first, because I know that usually pays the dividends right away, because I still got to make money now, right? Still got bills to pay. But no, man, it's been like a month. I need to get back into. I got a peel board. I got the film. There's no excuse. I've done some things with my van, got it on there, but if you look close, there's debris in there. I'm not perfect at all, but that's we can get into that as far as margin services, which ones make the most money, and got to figure something out, because sometimes these dirty interiors aren't very profitable that I'm doing, and that's where I did tint, or did it, why I did the tint training.
Hmm.
Sounds, I mean, sorry to cut you off here, but basically tinting, I've always had an interest in it too. So if I feel like something I'm interested in, and I feel like I'll pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Sean Free from Prestige. He actually told me that we spoke about that a lot on his podcast, was whatever you're passionate about, that it makes it easier to talk about it to customers. And so, you have to figure out what that is for you. Like for him, it was paint protection film. And I think that he can really get behind that, and he likes working with the product. And detailing, it wasn't so much so I think having that passion, like people see that, and whenever you start really getting into like, oh man, I love tint, because not only does it add privacy, but it helps protect your interior. And like, have you had this new ceramic tint? Like, this stuff's awesome. Like, put your hand in front of this heat lamp here, see how much of a
Right.
difference it makes. And like, customers can see that, and they're like, wow, like, yeah, this is not only is this a cool product, like this guy really believes in his product. And if that's not maybe so much of the case with detailing, it's harder for sometimes for you to sell that. So I think you have to find that for yourself.
Oh, I agree, and I've just always been fascinated with like tinter's skill. Like that's such a cool thing to me. I've always had my cars tinted in my family. That's where I get it from. This whole car thing, been around since my dad going to car shows. So since I was a kid, but I've always thought tinted windows are cool, and whoever can do that, man, what a skill. But yeah, it's funny you say about passion. That my recent TikTok post where I show, I damaged that Tesla interior. I was using the Tornador, and the fabric, like in that little middle console where the little door pops out. It's like that little, it's like velvet, almost fabric, real soft, almost like an Alcantara. I'm not sure what it is, but I was using the Tornador and peeled up. But anyways, someone posted, you could tell when someone's passionate or loves their job. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, hey, I didn't realize I was trying to put out that, that vibe of, me, but I guess it just shows, so.
Did you end up replacing that for the customer?
So I offered, hey, look, this is what happened. That guy was so cool. And and we can get into being honest, that's what I was trying that's why I did that video. I knew like, okay, I can make a bad situation somehow useful. Just being honest, but no, he was like, oh no, don't worry about it, man. Don't. And I'm like, he cut me off every time I'm trying to say like why or what happened, what I can do. I'm like, okay, I'll still discount the service. So I gave him a discount, but it just, yeah, he was fine with it.
That'll be a customer for life if you take care of them like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had, it's always interiors for some reason. Things break. Nothing with exteriors. I had a Ford Ranger. I was on the driver's side trying to be fast, but I reached over with the recliner and it snapped. Like oh man, it's like you're going good and everything.
What was it?
A Ford Ranger. So the on the seat, so you can recline back and forth.
Yeah.
That little handle. It just snapped on me. So I don't know if it was like the angle I did it at or just hulked it too much, man. So
did you replace that for the customer?
No, so I told him, I sent him a picture. I'm like, this is what happened. He's like, because he wasn't there. He dropped it off at my home. I work from home too. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. And I told him, okay, look, I tried to put it back together, use super glue, but I told him, look, I can still replace it for you or offer money. He didn't even phase. It didn't even phase him when he came to look at it. I showed him, like, look, it's still functional. And this was back in December. But I gave him a discount and he still tipped me, and like the last client. So it's just crazy, It's just. I'm so picky about my cars. I wonder if I would be that level-headed, but I just feel like just being professional and just letting them know right away. I mean, going back to that Shelby GT500 that I talked about, that ceramic coated last year, I was using the panel prep. I don't want to really name brands because I don't want to downplay anyone, but I was using the panel prep to prep the surface before I put the coating on it, and the dye started to come off just a little bit on the door panel. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, of course, a Shelby GT500 too, of course. Like, how much is this door panel going to cost? So I just text my client. He's one of my best clients. I've got a real personal relationship with him. I just refer to him as brother. It's just, he's a good guy. But it's just, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I barely see it. But he's like, no big deal, man. He's like, you could tell he probably wasn't the happiest, but I told him, look, I'm going to, if you want it, I can replace it. I'm insured, but he never went and asked for that. And I discounted the service, of course, too, but he's still my client. Just
at some point, you're just gonna discount every service you ever offer.
I know, man. I know.
Man, I wasn't happy. I didn't get all that dirt off that wheel. Sorry, I'm gonna have to discount that.
Yeah, it's and
at some point you have to get out of your head. It's like, I mean, if you damage something, it's one thing, but dude, we're the worst about that too. One thing is Teslas are notorious for having problems with interiors, and we actually had a Tesla last summer that we tornadored a door, and it had like that plastic, almost like a vinyl wrap around where you rolled the windshield wiper, or the not the windshield wiper, but the window where you roll the window up, and it peeled it up, and So we let the customer know, and in our head, it's like, oh, maybe it won't be that big of a deal. You can just put a new piece of plastic cover on there, and they called the closest Tesla um, certified body shop, and it ended up being $500 to replace that.
Oh man.
And I mean, we agreed to do it.
Yeah.
So, but they ended up booking like a detail like a month after. I think they felt kind of bad, and then I mean, they're a customer for life. We take care of them, and I mean, it was like, listen, it's no big deal. Like, we're gonna get it fixed for you, and we're not worried about it. We just want to make sure that it's right. But that's part of working with cars. That everything is so expensive on cars. I had a Rivian R1S that I ceramic coated, and set the client up on a maintenance plan, and was doing our second maintenance wash on it. And I put my hand on the hood as I was wiping down the windshield, and it popped in the body line and then
Oh my
popped
God.
out. Like sometimes you can kind of like, you can pop in and pop out those like on the hood.
Right.
And when it popped out, I noticed that body line had like a little squiggle in it, almost like a broken nose. And so, of course, I told him, and it's so good to have people that do like paintless dent repair or touch up paint. I mean, we do some of that stuff, but we've got guys that do it at the highest level. And so I just told him, I said, we're going to call the PDR guy, and if you want, I'll run it over there right now and get it taken care of for you. And again, he was cool about it.
Wow.
And so drove it over there and got that taken care of. And so it's really good to have people that in your network that can fix stuff like that, whether it's with auto reconditioning or paintless dent repair.
Yeah, I need to get a dent guy in my contacts. I haven't done no mistakes yet with exterior. I know eventually unfortunately, that day will come. I don't know how long you want to harp on this topic, but I remember this going back to the Shelby GT500 customer. He's, again, a great client of mine. He told me, he's like, if I would have found out on my own, I probably wouldn't have come back to you. Something. He was just kind of joking, but I know he kind of meant that. Like in my mind, like, yeah, there you go.
That's the truth, though.
Exactly. And it's happened to me. I'm going back to like my experience when we first talked was I would find things from mechanics doing things on my cars because I loved it. Even though it was an old car, I love that thing. Like I thought it was my Ferrari, it was just a little older Audi, with 145,000 miles. But bless my dad for buying me a first car. Not everyone has that privilege, so I still thank him for that. But it's just I find out things on my own from other people who have done service for me, and it's like it gives you a bad feeling. Like, what else did they hide? So
Yep.
just learning from that, and then yeah, having contacts for PDR probably should be on that. You never know. Wind, especially mobile, things are always flying around.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So you said you were doing about $1,200 in sales per month in those months,
Yeah.
those winter months. How has it been since then?
Oh, it's picked up a lot. So especially now with April, this was my busiest month. Now I'm up to year to date about $8,400. So thankfully it's picked up. Not rocket ship numbers. Where I want to be, like where some of these guys I know you have on here, but it's picked up where I can start to save because my goals are just I'm only paying myself about 20 an hour. I'm trying to be super disciplined about that, like where I can just pay my bills and just save. I'll continue to save because last year I which is fine. I feel like I dumped too much money into like, which is still, it's good to grow in the business, but back into the business, whether it be equipment, my generator failed on me, water pumps, but things that I feel like I should be saving money on instead. Because eventually I like to get into a shop, and have employees because I feel like there's been opportunities where not so much that customers get like almost like, oh, you work from home, but I could kind of tell like, oh, I thought this was a shop, but I feel like that's a good thing. I try to make it on Google to post pictures that this space looks so professional and clean. I'm going to take care of your car. If you saw that video, I just redid the floors with those VVOR tiles. But yes, month to date, I'm up to like about $8,400. So it's gotten better, but again, it's not going to, blow you away numbers compared to some guys in the industry, but it's obviously a lot better. I'm getting calls now, online bookings, new clients, some returning clients, but again, back to what I was saying, and I gotta, especially this month, it's get back with the older clients I've had or recurring clients. But it's just me, and I need to get faster because some of these details are taking me all day. Usually by like 10, 12 hours after doing a full detail, I'm wiped out. Maybe I could do a wash, but it's just like, man, I still want to focus on quality. And I just know that if I try to get another car in and it's only like a few hours left of sunlight, the sun goes down around 8 p.m. now during this time of year, thankfully. But if I'm only averaging one car at a time myself with my pace on a full detail, I'm not going to get there with the numbers I want to. So that's where saving the money and then either finding more efficient things or raising prices, which I already did. I feel like there's only so much of a limit I can do with these details or get into higher ticket items like ceramic coatings and tint. I'm not trying to get too off on topic there. Yeah.
It's tough with window tinting, man, because it really requires, I think, like your full-time efforts. Like, I really think that, you can dabble in tint for the next year or so and like you can get a little bit better at it. But what we've realized is like to really get good at tint to where you're fully comfortable talking to customers and selling it, it's like you've really got to be working for someone else and doing tinting like every day and do that for like 6 months to a year, And so a lot of these guys that I've had on the podcast and including myself, it's like when it comes to window tinting and paint protection film, it's almost worth having an employee hiring a guy that knows how to do window tinting and is comfortable with doing detailing as well whenever you don't have window tint jobs. And you can kind of learn from him, or you can do what Grant Menard did and what we're doing, which is have a guy come out 1 or 2 days a week and book your tint jobs for those days. And, just kind of put him on the schedule for every Tuesday. And he's a 1099 contractor. And whenever he comes out, basically it's training for you because you're gonna. That's the agreement that we've worked out with our guy. And so we get to learn from him. We get to make a small percentage of the job. We're actually splitting it with him. And then we make sure that the customer is going to be happy. It's not going to be butchered. And so sometimes we'll install it and then have Chris look over a part that we did, or, other times we will just let Chris kind of take care of the whole thing. If it's like a little bit more of an expensive vehicle, or we're doing like a windshield tint that we're really just not totally comfortable with yet. But I would definitely recommend that instead of like trying to take it upon yourself. It's just so stressful to try to learn a new service on top of paying your bills with doing detailing,
Oh, exactly. No, I believe it. It's just, I know, like I said, it's been like a month. So I know I'm probably going to come back to, when I start again or get back at it, it's going to be like, okay, what's the first step? But no, I believe it. The reps, especially with that, it's a real specialized skill. You can, learn detailing, there's skill involved, but it's not the level of working with vinyl because it can be super finicky, especially, you've already got the film cut and I don't have a plotter and I'm hand cutting it. And then, if you're using the heat gun too close and an edge gets warped or whatever, or you just get a little piece of dust and now you got to start all over again. And of course the cost adds up. Tint's not that expensive. Of course I heard compared to PPF, but I'm right there. Right there with you. The only thing is I don't have a shop, so I feel like I'm still limited to like garage. I don't know. I've thought about subbing out, but I don't know how they would be working in my garage. I feel like if I was a tinter, I'd want everything to be dust free, controlled environment.
Yeah. And even when we were switching over to adding in ceramic coatings to our services, I think that we thought that as soon as we listed it on our website, there was going to be people lined up out the door for ceramic coatings, and we were going to be able to make this jump to doing like mostly ceramic coatings. And 3 years later, and we sell some ceramic coatings, but it's still not what I ever thought it would be. And I think part of that is just the product itself. I think that you hear everyone say this, that it's plateaued. And as we've gotten more into it and realized really who that product is meant for, it's a very limited market, so there's a lot of people that think it does things that it doesn't. And so it's a smaller market and there's a lot of people doing it. And so you're not going to sell a ton of it. Right. And so that's uh, I think with everything that we've ever started doing, it's just, and I think you said this too, whenever we started, is it just takes a little bit longer than what you expect. And you have to double down on what's working while still dabbling in the things that are new and interesting and that you find passion in. And that's a hard balance to find.
I agree. It's just there's being just me, the sole owner or operator, and there's so many ideas. Like you got the spin the wheel behind me. I'm gonna show up to these car shows now, and because last year I feel like I wasn't doing it, and I didn't see many guys. But going back to what I was saying, like what Jason Otterness was saying about social media, if you're not doing things like this, someone else is going to, and I want to be the first one to make that mark because that's fine. Other guys want to show up, but I feel like I don't see many mobile guys yet going to these car events. I still got to focus on, I'm detailing first the business. So I'm going to show up now. I got some things I'm going to, do that spin the wheel, a little bottle opener, a lanyard, 10% coupon, little fun things like that. I got you see the A-frame signs I have
Yeah.
on the events. I'm going to have this thing where sign up for a free car or enter for a free car wash for the month. And it's just little things like this to try to promote the business. So this is a sign here.
Nice.
It's pretty big, but
That looks really good.
yeah, I mean, it just try to see more on the camera, but basically, I try to get everyone to tag me at the event
Yeah.
and follow me on as many platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, so they can follow me and just get awareness for my brand, and then I'll pick a winner. It's just try new things, but going back to more profitable services like tint I need to get into long term. And I've realized running a business is, I don't know about you, I feel like 6 months is only like 3 months and a year is like 6 months. Time goes by so quick. Like we're already into May. It's just crazy. So I know I'll get there. I feel like I know I have that motivation and that passion. It's like, and plus it's the only thing that can work. I got to get into more profitable services, and I'd love to get the tinting going, but still focusing on detailing, and that's what built my foundation so far. I feel like I'm still building a foundation in my steps here. This is just my second year full time now. I know I got higher goals this year, but putting my face out there, not just online, because I love making the videos, but I feel like we're talking about those marketing cups. Where else can I put them out? And I need to get out there and just put my face out there in the local community and try to be the local guy, because I feel like I'm starting to get that with the social media. Someone's like, oh, I see your videos, just surrounding suburbs. So I try my best to get that going before someone else does, because I know I'm 33 and Gen Z. I'm not Gen Z. I'm a millennial, man. You call me old now. These kids, man, they're 19, 18, whatever. They can make videos, edit way better than I do, and know the trends. I try my best to not scroll all day, but trying different things.
Did you pay for your van in cash?
No, it's something I'm still paying. So I've knowing my numbers. I've worked that into my daily costs. So almost there paying it off. But no, it was I bought it with about 120,000 miles and about $14,000. It costed me
To set up too?
to set up. You could add like another 10 grand on all the stuff. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Those
But
setups aren't cheap, man.
no, it wasn't. But the van's like the last big thing I'm here to pay off. So once that's paid off, that's one thing I want to get the car payment out, so I can start saving more. Because you probably know Rennie Doyle. I listened to his podcast, and he's saying if you're looking to get a shop, I think he said something along the lines like that: have at least 3 months of pay, or to get through those hard months. So I'm thinking that in that sense that before I make that commitment to getting a shop, because I've heard from in person at that window tint training. This guy, his name's Chad from Northern Auto Spa, Michigan. A really nice guy. It was really cool. He's got his shop, but he said when he opened his shop, and it wasn't like I thought it'd be, where you get business right away. From what I remember him telling me. So I just got to know that, okay, I get a shop. Doesn't mean if I don't do the marketing right, no one's going to know I'm there too. So that's why I'm doing my best to save the money, build the reviews. I'm at 126 5-star reviews, and get that social media following continue to grow. So when I'm ready to make that move, I feel like I have the foundation set. Well, if that sounds too conservative to you, or too baby step ish, to you, let me know compared to your where you guys started. But that's where I'm at.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like, is that too slow of a pace, you think? But I feel like I'm just trying to be, smart financially, not jump into a shop. I'd love to, but I feel like I'm still making it work. And you see, I got things to figure out, like how to get faster. It's just me, but jumping into a shop, I feel like you got to have some decent amount of money saved. I'm thinking you got to have at least $30,000 to $50,000 saved for to get a shop and
Hmm.
to make it look nice. I've been to shops again, and that's going back to that perfectionist mindset I got to work at. Just having an empty shop because okay, you got the shop, but how are you going to make it look nice? The flooring, the walls, your branding, that all costs money too, right? To outfit it, or just jump into it, build from there.
Well, I mean, we worked out of our garage for over a year, maybe a year and a half. And so we were no different than you. And we got the race deck tiles and we had the lighting. And I mean, we have one of our best customers is found us and came to us at the shop and had multiple cars ceramic coated at that shop.
Okay.
And he actually hit us up because he thought our shop setup was cool and it was just in our home garage. And that was like one of the reasons. And I mean, he's always getting a new car and having it detailed and coated and, so, I mean, I don't think that, I think it's like you've mentioned this, you don't need to have the perfect setup
Right.
to be able to get started. And like, it's not ideal, but you make it work. My brother was detailing out of a Honda.
I think I heard you guys say that.
Yeah, it had a huge dent in the front of it, and plasti dipped the roof at one point. He plasti dipped the wheels. It had a loud muffler, 5% tint all around, and pulling up to customers' houses into their $1 million house with that thing. And we did that for, I mean, he had that for like maybe a year while we were started, and then he got a Maxima that, to be honest, didn't look much different. He put these $3,000, it was like $3,000 or $4,000 wheels on this Maxima and had an exhaust on it, and it looked ridiculous. And I would always harp on him. And at first, we were wearing sweatpants to the jobs, and at some point, we're like, "What are we doing? Like, we have to be more professional." And
It's like, yeah, I guess moral of the story, right? Just get started, right? I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be perfect. And even some of those clients that we were showing up in those cars and wearing sweatpants and just a regular t-shirt, even them, they're still with us today, because I think that and we've raised our prices on some of these people by over 100%. We started with really low prices and have just continued to raise them. And so I think that, yeah, you don't need to have like this perfect shop setup or like the perfect van setup even to start. For us, what got us business was we were just in front of people on Google. We were ranking well, and we had good reviews, and people came to us because of our reviews, and we were first on Google, and then referrals, of course, too, and then repeat business. I think a lot of people, I mean, you've mentioned this several times, is like they don't realize how important it is to get repeat business. I mean, if you can take every one of your customers and try to increase frequency amongst, I mean, take half of the customers that came in the door last year, and if you could get half of them to book one more detail in 2025, that's going to be, if everyone else continues to show up, that's a 50% increase in your revenue. So there's a lot to be said about just increasing frequency, whether it's through emails or text messages or calling them, things like that.
Right. I have a client list of 200 people. So it's just, I listen to a lot of Jimbo Balaam, the Auto Detailing podcast. He's one of the first ones. I feel like, I've gotten tips here and there from everyone, anyone listening, Josh, you got an awesome podcast too, that these things help, learning from trials and errors. Right. But he was saying, a lot of detailers, he made the mistake. He's saying he didn't take clients' information right away. And the first two clients, I made that mistake, but right away I started using Square and getting their contact information. But now it's like, what do you do with it? And I realized that, I have 200 people, fish from your own pond, right? So it's scary to just focus on new clients all the time. It's great to continue to get new clients, but I feel like the base should be our clients that we already have, and know and trust us.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, it sounds like you're doing that, just giving them a 5-star stellar service every time, and that'll help generate referrals, and and that'll help generate repeat business too. Um, are you ranking pretty well on your Google for SEO?
Yeah, so I looked. I'm always looking at it. I feel like I'm obsessed with it. But one thing is like, am I doing it right? Because I listened when you had Chris Giovanni on your podcast. I think you said you went to. Did you say that if you went to incognito? Because I go into that private mode on Safari to try and not find my location, and Google car detailing Plainfield, Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
showing up on the first page about 3 or 4. That's below the ads. That's better. And believe it or not, I'm above the details roadmap. One of these guys around here, I want to say a name because again, everyone's got to make money. We all got families to support, right? But they made his website, and I remember seeing it one night. I'm like, oh my god! I was telling my girlfriend, like, oh man, I better get my act together. I was like freaking out. I was like, oh, I'm like, oh man, this guy's gonna take over. Like, this is it. He popped up right away on the first page, but this is just real things. I called, to see if he's going to answer his phone. A lot of detailers don't. He didn't answer his phone. I called like 4 or 5 times that day to this PPF. Didn't answer his phone. Called again like a
Wow.
month later. And he's only, again, not to downplay. I'm just saying like, this is what works for me. You can have a great website, but if you're not doing those other things, like actually answering your phone, he's only gotten 8 reviews since about September, or he's had 8 reviews, only had 1 review, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
since then. So he's up to 9. Back then, I don't remember the number, but I'm up to 126 now. That's my biggest focus since I started. So yeah, ranking wise, I'm ranking above a details roadmap website. If they're listening, you're going to hear this. You're like, right? What's he doing? I wouldn't doubt them though. They're probably going to figure it out if maybe SEO does take a little longer. But I know he's been around. I had one client tell me he ceramic coated his car. I'm like, oh cool. I just asked about him. I did an engine for that client, but I told him, hey, I also ceramic coat too. And I told him all about my videos. A lot of my work's there. But I really went hardcore on the SEO this January and February, redoing my site. You've probably heard of Detail Groove, right? He's from Houston.
Yeah.
Oscar Gill, man, he's probably, again, starting off like one of the best insights and advices. He heavily focuses on SEO. That's how he grew his business. So that made the most sense to me. It was like, for me at least, I feel like everyone's searching on Google. So right off the bat, I tried to do that, but my website wasn't good enough, my original website. So this one, I'm like, okay, enough doing, because I feel like it's such a task. And keeping costs low. I saw the details roadmap prices. If you can afford it, do it. But again, I'm working really lean here and try to save money. I'm not getting too many loans out there. I heard Grant Menard, he said he maxed out all his cards, man. That guy, he really bet on himself. I feel like he got to, but I try to just be real, smart with the money here. But this year, I spent the first 2 months. What else was I doing? I wasn't getting many clients these winter months. It was just me and my 2-year-old, man, and then I was just working on that website every day and adding the videos for each service page for YouTube to tag Plainfield, Illinois for ceramic coatings. Then I got a ceramic coating car. I did my paint correction one. I have what YouTube. Plainfield, Illinois title on there. So it really has helped. If you Google Plainfield, Illinois car detailing, my pictures show up first, like the first 4 or 5. And then there's car washes that have been here for decades after me. And they got more reviews. So it works. The SEO works. I picked up that geotagging tip from, you've had the renowned guys on here.
Yeah.
I heard they're on another podcast. Can't remember which one, but basically they said they found out, if you add the city name with the photo where you save your computer,
Yep.
it ends up showing up. If that's right, please stop me if I'm wrong. But
No, it is right.
So that's what I saw right away. Where I'm from in Plainfield and the other cities, like, whoa, it works. I remember
And you can
showing my
also
girlfriend.
geotag your photos too, so you can put coordinates in your photos.
Really?
Sometimes if you just look up geotag my photo,
Okay.
you can put you just copy and paste coordinates from whatever part of your city, and you can kind of grab coordinates for all over, and you can geotag those photos. And I believe that also helps along with changing the file name to a SEO
Really?
term. Mm-hmm.
Also, are you saying when you post it on like Google My Business or on the website?
I would do both.
Okay, I didn't
And
know
another
that.
thing too is just making sure your images are as small as possible on your website and sized correctly. So there's like several file compressors that will reduce the file size, and so that's also something you can do with all your images.
That's a good tip because if you notice, I'm with BBB, the Better Business Accredited. They contacted me. You know, I feel like a lot of construction companies, window companies, like legit businesses, HVAC, they're making tons of money. They've been out, they got that seal. I'm like, why not as a detailer have it, right? So anything that builds credibility. That's helped. A couple of clients have said, they've told me, hey, I see your BBB accredited. That's what made me go with you. So I knew
Wow.
he's like, I knew you weren't going to rip me off because I got ripped off by like, I feel like, I forgot who it was, someone like renovating his house. I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. So it does, that for 3 years, it was about like, I think like $2,200. Um, would I do it again? Probably, because I feel like anything to build a brand, right? Fake it till you make it again.
Yeah.
Anything to build that brand of who I am, trying to build out there. But going back to why I'm bringing that up is they have SEO rankings on there. They give me every month how I'm doing, whether how well it works or not. It says I'm doing good with SEO, but you talked about file size for images. It said I could do a better job at that. And I was thinking like, okay, where do I start with that? But hearing you tell me that's something, I should look at and work on, because my SEO though, I think I'm ranking like in like 89 or 90, out of 100, saying I'm doing really well with that. And before I was more or less like average around the 70s, 80s before I redid my site.
Yeah, dude. SEO is definitely really important. Now, one thing I will mention, I'm looking at your website right now. Well, a few things, but one, I know you said you can take like 10, 12 hours for one detail. Dude, you got to get that time down because if I was having my car detailed, I do not want to wait 10 hours to have my car
Yeah.
detailed. I've got stuff to do. I feel like you've got to get that down half as much because I mean it'll take us. I mean, like I know as a perfectionist, you could spend all day on a car, but um, it'll take us, typically for a full detail with two guys, like about 4 hours to do.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
I mean, if there's
That's
one guy
awesome.
on it, it might take us 6, 7 hours, but like 10, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. Whether if I'm the only one spending this much time or not, or someone else in the same position, I've tried things to be more efficient. One thing I feel like, going back to the content, although if I got to hire someone, I feel like it does add a little more time with photos to get the nice before and after shots in the videos. Well,
Sure.
if it's a necessary evil or not, um, well, maybe I don't do for every car,
Well, I will
but
say also, like, so your first availability is May the 15th. I'm looking at your
okay,
website right now. So
right.
I have to wait almost 2 weeks to get my car in. Another huge thing that we worked on in the beginning was getting that down because people don't want to wait. I'm sure you get phone calls all the time from people that want to get in tomorrow, today, last minute. And so we knew that there was a lot of business that was coming in the door that just we weren't able to take on because we weren't able to get to it on time. So we wanted to get that down to where we could get it in the same week, and we still try to stay on that. And Grant Menard also told me that there's a tent guy down in Florida, forget the guy's name, that I don't think he's ever booked out more than 48 hours, and
Wow.
he's doing millions of dollars a year.
I get it, from the customer standpoint, they want it now, they don't want to wait, or they had some spill, I get that a lot. Something happened. They want to clean up right away. So did you like just make that leap then, like hiring someone like, okay, we got to figure out the schedule and just do it?
Yep.
Yeah. I feel
Well,
like
think
something's got
about it. It
to.
was basic math. If I hired someone and if I had confidence that our schedule would stay full, and I did have confidence that it would stay full because I knew that if we could lower the wait time, then we would have more customers. But if I could do 2 jobs per day, so not only am I making twice as much money, but I'm having twice as many referrals. I'm getting twice as many reviews. So I knew that that would compound.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I'm on the cusp of that. I feel like, especially with the leads coming in and redoing a lot of videos where I'm talking about the story of the car with the social media, I'm getting more leads. So I feel like, what if we check in or not? I feel like by the end of the year, my goal is to be ready for that. Get an employee, because that probably will change my business for the better. And that's the gist I've heard from this industry is once you hire someone, that's where your business starts to skyrocket. And then, yeah, I mean, I've tried. So, if you see it or not here on my card, doing referrals now. I just started this this program to try to get more leads in. It's just give my client $50 off their first or their detail, and then whoever they give this to, they get 15% off theirs. So trying with this, what if I want to be more aggressive or not, if it works or not, just something I'm trying to implement to get more leads in. And because right now I feel like I still need to get more leads before I can feel comfortable hiring someone. But yeah, the 10 to 12 hour thing. And I think it's just, I need to have a detail with me or someone be like, am I doing what I'm doing? It doesn't matter or not. I feel like I'm lifting if it's kind of dirty, I'm taking a spare out and cleaning in there, taking little interior parts out, that if it can be lifted out and cleaning underneath in spots, because it's hard to listen to like who runs this and does a business like this. Like, you probably know Ivan LaCroix. Listen to one of his podcasts. He's saying, if a customer's paying you to do a detail in the interior, you clean it all. It's like, man, okay, how far can you go with that? Because interiors can have every little crack and crevice, and sometimes I got to stop myself from going overboard. I feel like, because the timing. Even my brother, said, your family's got to be the most honest with you. You say, yeah, dude, if you're on my driveway that long, I'd be like, what the heck is that guy doing? He's the most honest with my older brother George, man. But he was one of those guys that got me to know my numbers. He's like, you're just a guy that details from his garage. You're not a true business owner. Because he told me this was back in November, and that stuck with me. He always has a younger brother, like, man, the older brother's always ahead of you, but he knows right, and that's helped my business too, knowing my numbers. Now, I mean, I don't know there's more analytics to know, but yeah.
Well, it's tough with recording videos. I know that does take a lot of extra time,
Yeah.
but you have to find that balance. Maybe once a week you just put one detail for this day, and you're going to record one or two videos. But on the other days, it's like try to drop that time down and don't worry about recording. But another thing too is like you can't clean every part of the interior, nor should you, and that's just part of business. Is like I don't really agree with that idea that like I've got to make this completely 100% spotless,
Right.
because I just don't think you can run a sustainable business like that unless you're charging just a ton of money to do that. And I'm not sure that every customer really wants that level of service, right? So, I mean, you have to find that balance. It's like that's what we were always trying to do, and still are. It's like, do customers ever look at their engine bay? Most of the time, no. So I know you do a lot of engine bay cleaning. I've seen it on your social media, which is a great upsell, but we don't include that with our standard full detail, because to do like a good job, it does take quite a bit of time. And unless you're selling the vehicle, you're really never going to look at that. And so it's like, do we really want to spend all this time cleaning something that most people don't care about and aren't going to look at? And so, it's a constant battle. It's like, do we really want to spend the extra hour to do like a paint enhancement on the vehicle? And we really want to, because it'll make the paint look shiny. But does the customer really want to pay an extra $100 for that? Probably not.
No, I totally agree where you're coming from. The engines I do as an add-on service too. I've gotten a lot of business from that. I know it's some risk involved. I've never had an issue with engines. Thankfully, I try to cover up all the sensitive components, but going too far with things. And what's the crazy thing is, what they just trust me because of my reviews. You probably see it when they come out and you tell them, like, hey, let's check out your car. Please let me know. I always tell them, miss any spots, and I'm always willing to make it right. Well, if there's a little spot, whatever, the glass, for example, or you want to stain out, but that barely happens. Most clients just come out and they give it like barely a glance over. And they're like, oh, cool. And they're ready to pay. It's like awesome, cool. You trust me like that. It's like, wow. And it always in the back of my head, it's like that balance of like, okay, I know I did a thorough job. So when they're driving, maybe they don't want to do it in front of me, because I get it. I don't like, confrontation. No one does. Maybe they don't want to. They don't feel confident, or they don't want to like bring up, hey, you miss a spot. Because it's no one likes saying that, right, or avoiding that confrontation. So, but in my mind, it's like, okay, what about when they go home or their daily drive that next day, 2 days from now, when they're driving to work and they see a spot that maybe I didn't spend extra time, or is that just me in my head that they probably don't do that? If you do a good enough job, I'm trying to get a balance of be profitable with my time, but still deliver a good job. It's such a fine line. I feel like, because I want to do a good job. I want to deliver quality.
Yeah, I'm telling my guys that all the time. Is like, just because someone said it looked good whenever they left the shop and like checked it out for a few seconds, doesn't mean that they won't. Whenever they're driving home into the sun, they're going to drop that visor down, and you didn't clean up there, and it's covered in makeup or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, you have to. You should be thinking about that. That's part of what we do. Is the quick glance in the vehicle, that's not really going to do it justice. But at the same time, you can't like worry about it too much. I think the best way to handle it is just to check in like a week or 3 days later, and just to say, and you give them permission. So we give them permission a few times throughout the process to let them know that if we missed anything, you can let us know, that we will come make it right. So whenever we're done with the check, or whenever we're checking them out, when we're done with the detail, we usually just say, hey, I double checked everything, but if you notice anything over the next few days, you've got my phone number. You give me a call, and we'll make it right. So we give them permission then, and then following up again, and 3 days, 5 days later, and just saying, hey, I just wanted to check in to see how everything's looking, make sure that you're happy with everything.
Yeah, that's
So
smart. I did that in the beginning, and I felt like, okay, if I say, did I miss anything? I feel like, I don't know, maybe just try to read them like they're thinking, oh, did he miss anything? But no, hearing from you guys are established that it works is something I got to implement. But I do check in at least 48 hours. And that goes to where I got so many reviews, is being top of mind, because customers they'll forget right away about the review. So about 2 days later, I text them. First off, saying, thank you again, being really appreciative to the client for booking me, but please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And then I just say, if you got time, please leave a Google review, and I send them a link. And that has gotten me so many reviews to make it personable. Recently, I leave a little review card, the bag with my business name on there. I try and implement, but I feel like this is kind of,
looks nice.
it does look nice, right? I mean, thanks, man. It's cool, but I feel like it's made it kind of less personable in a way. So I'm still doing both, but I feel like the text, because I tried it for like the first week or two, and I feel like, okay, I'm not getting reviews. But then when I went back to doing the texting, the client leaves a text. And then again, it's just going back to what we're talking about. It gives them the opportunity. If they did see something, I just want them to know, look, I'm here to fix it if I did miss a spot, whatever.
95% of my reviews have been us first asking them when they're leaving,
Right.
hey, if I sent you a review, would you be willing to leave us some feedback? And then us personally texting them. It has not been automated, and we have an automated system. We don't get reviews from it.
That's that's crazy. I spent this time on Square, so I have Square sending an automated thing, make it all nice and everything. Hey, I'm probably gonna get the same results then. You got to make it personal. Right, like you said, I asked right away. Like after I have them sign off, they inspect everything, that they're satisfied with the work. But I still reiterate, okay, if you see anything, please let me know. But I tell them right away, please leave me a review, because it's, if not the most important thing, because pretty much, I would say even more than 9 times out of 10, almost 100%, they all say they pick me because of my reviews. They see all 5-star reviews. It's so important.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think explaining that to the customer, like Grant does with referrals, like to make sure that we're able to continue to provide this level of service to you in the future, we ask that you hand out these 3 business cards to people you think that would appreciate the same level of service that you received today. And it's the same thing with the reviews. It's like, listen, we've built our business on Google reviews. They probably found you because you had 5-star Google reviews. If you would please take the time to leave me some feedback, that it'll ensure that I'm able to service you in the future. And so
Definitely.
I think that people see that, and they know how important it is. And you're not going to get everyone to leave a review. That's okay. But it's the habit of explaining that to everyone, and just building the reps. And at some point, it is a numbers game that if you ask 10 people, 3 of them are going to leave a review, and maybe the other 7, maybe out of the other 7, 2 of them, if you followed up with them a few times, would, but a few of them just aren't. So, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. So first off, reviews are huge, obviously, for your reputation in SEO. I'm trying to get my clients to just, I've noticed, and it's proven, that if they leave keywords in a review, as far as the job was, it helps with your ranking too. And I respond to all my reviews. I heard that helps too with Google, what Google likes. I respond to all of them with their name. So that's one thing I'd say. It's for other business owners out there: respond to all your clients, make it personable. But yeah, it helps with your ranking too, as far as if they're saying the right keywords. So ceramic coating, and it'll show. I mean, you've probably seen it pops up that this review and this business did this job, so it recommends me right away. What's your opinion though on? So I got some Facebook ones. That's why I did that QR code, because it's got Facebook and Yelp. I feel like Facebook helps, because if you notice, when you search a business, it shows not just Google, it'll show your site if you have your reviews on there, which I do on my website. It'll show Facebook, which I got 11 something. I feel like, and you need I think I heard you overheard it on one other podcast, and I've always thought about it, like, what if something happens to Google? What if someone else takes over? Now I have all my eggs in one basket, but it's I doubt Google right now. It's probably gonna lead the way. But what's your opinion on Yelp too? Do you guys use Yelp? Because I tried to get Yelp, but they took away reviews of mine. It's like, and they're always calling me for ads, like and then they just call me to sell me things. And I told them, hey, you guys have taken reviews away, and it's been not that great of an experience with Yelp. But I feel like Yelp's got such a nice platform; it could be really good. Especially, I know it works good with like restaurants. But I'm trying to, that's why I got the QR code on it for Yelp to get clients to leave them on there. Might incentivize that soon too, where the more reviews you leave at different platforms to reward them. But do you guys use Yelp or see it's important compared to Google?
We do have a Yelp page.
Okay.
I've gotten one of my best customers I got from Yelp actually,
Nice.
but I would say that it's definitely not a very high percentage of business. It's very, very small now. But some of the guys in the East Coast and on the West Coast, like in around the LA area and also like around, kind of New York, New Jersey, for whatever reason, Yelp seems to work really well for them. So I think that to say that it's all bad always is not true. I think that it depends. And even for someone like me and you in the Midwest, it's worth having a page, but I wouldn't spend as much time on it as Google. I think the same is true from Facebook. I think that, you think about Google and YouTube, people are going there to search, to answer questions and to find answers, to find services for something that they need. Whereas on Facebook and Instagram, not that it's not worth spending time on, but it's just a different mindset that people are going there for, right? So I think Google, it makes sense why all these detailing businesses spend so much time on SEO and Google. And it's because the clients that are on there, on that platform searching for your services, they're in the right mindset to book a detail. And so I would continue to spend most of your time and effort on there. But of course, it's worth having Facebook reviews as well. And some people just, for whatever reason, they prefer Facebook reviews. Maybe they found us from Facebook or they're on us on Facebook more. And so sometimes they don't leave a Google review and they do leave a Facebook one. So
yeah, Facebook does have, I feel like it has its own community. Some people just search on Facebook. I didn't realize. I was never a big Facebook user until I started this business, and I realized it's the whole, Facebook groups. There's all like its own little world that I now have more of an opportunity to delve into that. But yeah, going back to YouTube being a huge search engine, again, Chris Giovanni, and I've heard from, again, Detail Groove, Oscar Gill. If you notice on my YouTube videos, I put in Plainfield, Illinois, or the city that I've done the detail in that title, and it helps. It shows up in the search engine. And in the service area where I've done, like on my website, all the local suburbs around me, if I've worked in that, say like there's a city called Bolingbrook by me or Crest Hill, I've put a video of whatever detail I did. And I know that it goes back to the time thing, but having this like bank of video and content, it's really helped with the SEO. And I feel like I'm going to come to a point where I've already kind of tried to max out that as far as the website goes. But yes, tagging with the titles on YouTube, where your city is and where you've worked, it's helped me with the SEO.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, David, just keep it up, the good work, man. And I know you're doing, I think, all the right things, but it's really just refining, I think, a lot of what you're doing. And so keep it up. And I'm confident that when we check back in here and at the end of the year,
Right.
that you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of where you are now. So keep it up, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the warm wishes there, man. You as well. So I hope you guys are the best, because I know challenges come with doing your own business, and there's always the next thing you want to accomplish, right? So it looks like you guys are doing good things, and I love your page and how personal you guys are. And that one skit or that one video you guys did where you're talking about like what's the worst part of detail, I like that one, man. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was an honor being on there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you and for sharing some of your story, and I hope everyone listening enjoyed and found some value in this episode. But I'd love to have you on again at some point and do a check-in.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it again.
Cool. Thank you, guys.